Daylily. Oh. Fighter of the night, lily. Oh.
Champion of the sun. You know what? I was thinking about that right before you did it. Like,
nice.
Seriously, like 3 or 4 seconds, I was singing Dayman in my head.
Man, we're just synced up like that.
That's so funny.
And you've entered the synchronization by joining us on the Wild Edible World
There's
podcast.
no way out now.
No way out. I'm one of your hosts, Michael.
And I am Steve, if you haven't guessed it. This is episode Daylily.
Yeah, Daylily. Let me get the scientific binomial here because I have to read it every time. Hemerocallis fulva. Fulva. So this is a really commonly known plant, I think. It's very commonly seen.
Yeah.
And there are also tons of cultivars of it.
Sure.
So it's kind of a frequent garden plant, but there are a little bit of caveats with this plant, aren't there?
There are a couple.
So some people get kind of sick off of it. Regardless, so like we've been doing a lot of reading. One of my favorite sources that I have personally on the topic is the book Forage, Harvest, Feast by Marie Viljoen. And
first of all, beautiful book.
Beautiful book, yeah, absolutely.
Holy shit, beautiful.
Yeah, the photography, the writing, honestly, it's really a nice piece. She's in New York and does like foraging walks. She's inspired me a lot. But she goes really deep in her book. So if that's just a recommendation I want to start with, that if this is interesting to you, we're just going to kind of generally glaze over it with a couple of the important factors that you need to know. But she does kind of go a little bit in depth as far as like chemicals and location.
Gives you great little hints on identification and whatnot.
Yeah, lots of specific stuff. Yeah. And then on top of it, wonderful recipes following it.
Gorgeous recipes. Beautiful photos, man. Whoever took these photos is just winning.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not sure if she did but kudos to the photographer.
Yeah, you'll have to check out the book to find out.
Exactly, yeah. Usually on sale. Check out her Instagram as well, because she actually will often, if you DM her, she'll give you like a discount code. That's how I bought it, is nice. I just like DM'd her and she gave me a code for like 20% off or something like that. So
that's awesome.
It never hurts to like reach out to the author to show a little bit of appreciation for this type of work. But to get into the meat of things, let's talk about Daylily, what it looks like, right? Yeah. So this is the beginning of spring, like right on the cusp. Mm-hmm. We're still getting frost at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, but we're still on the edge enough that a lot of these earliest plants are just starting to poke their heads out. Yeah. The first ones you're going to see among them are going to be the daylily, which is why they are a popular choice among gardeners.
Yeah, one of the first things to pop up. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. They're resilient.
Mm-hmm. And so they all look pretty similar right off the bat, like when they're starting as sprouts. Mm-hmm. And so they're kind of, they're like if you take a rose flower, made it really long, and then squished it flat. And then I feel like that's kind of how like daylilies grow out. So they're two-prong sprouts, mm-hmm. and they're kind of like growing within two V's, thin V-shaped leaves. And then they kind of grow within each other. That's probably not the... Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, but I'm also staring at a picture of one.
I know, that's what I was thinking. Like, maybe I could have been more creative if I wasn't looking at it.
Crazy idea. Just Google it, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Do it right now. Wait a second.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, you got it now, right? Yeah, that's exactly what Michael just described.
Exactly. So, but I think what we usually start with, traditionally, would be the most recognizable part of the plant. Mm-hmm. And I would say, honestly, the early sprouts are going to be one of them. Sure. But also, the important thing with daylilies is the flower.
Yeah.
So it's got to be the orange flowers. So, I mean, sometimes it's even called ditch lily. Like, it's just kind of this orange lily flower that you're going to find sprouting. I mean, they grow like 4 feet tall, right? Yeah. Like, they're pretty tall.
Oh, yeah, super tall.
And big flowers, probably around 4 inches across from tip to tip. But let me take a quick look at the flowers. We got 6 petals, and they're kind of layered on top of each other, like leaves are.
Yeah, it's 3 steep sepals, and 3 petals. So it looks like 6 petals, but it's in all actuality, it's 3 petals, 3 sepals.
Thank you.
Which is like a little baby petal.
Thank you. Yes, and that's important too.
Oh, it's super
absolutely.
important. That's a big identifier. For
Very
sure.
good point. Thank you for the corrections.
Slightly recurved leaves. So the leaves will just ever so slightly curve back. This is an important identification because tiger lilies, which are true lilies, are fully recurved. The leaves almost touch the stem. So that's like big.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's really curved back.
Yeah.
Okay, so and tiger lilies are toxic, right?
Yes.
They will make
Yeah.
you sick,
You don't wanna eat
ill
those.
if you eat them. So will most of the cultivars that you find in gardens. So if people have intentionally planted them, chances are they are going to be the garden variety, and they are most likely going to make you sick. There are other instances where it's kind of like you can find places where even the normal daylilies will make you sick. That's one of the things kind of detailed in this book is like sometimes it can be kind of location based, but it seems kind of random. Mm-hmm. So try a little bit at first, but I think as far as edible parts of the plant goes, it's pretty thorough. You can eat the flower, you can eat the shoots, you can eat the roots, which are tubers.
Yes.
So they're actually full. The tubers, I think, are the most fun part of the plant. Most people begin with pickling the flowers because that's probably when you're going to notice them for the first time. And they send multiple flowers at once. So if you have one blooming, chances are there's going to be several underneath it that are just slightly less developed and are going to be, I think, the prime pickling stage, right? So
sure.
I haven't had them pickled.
No, I haven't either.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, so how have you enjoyed them?
Just sautéed or fresh, like
The buds?
Yeah, the buds. The buds or the flowers are great, just fresh.
Awesome.
If you do find the shoots, those are wonderful just on their own. Lettucey kind of texture. Once they get past that stage, once they get where you're finding buds or flowers, the leaves are a little bit too fibrous. But the rest, I mean, the flowers and buds are great. Almost like a green beanie texture.
Yeah.
Assuming you don't cook the shit out of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
great.
definitely. Yeah, and the daylily flower pickles taste just like pickles, except again with that kind of like fresh green beanie vegetal.
I want to do that. I want to try that.
Yeah, it's really
right
awesome.
now.
Yeah. It's Well, you got to wait a couple months
now.
Steve, but let's look at what Marie described the flavor profile as. Do you remember that? It was.
I don't recall exactly what it was, but this is worth looking up. Yeah,
it's green bean meets white asparagus by way of leek.
Yeah, so like a green bean and a white asparagus took a trip through Leek Town.
Yeah, and just like left with like leeks all over their shoes
exactly,
or whatever. Yeah, they're pretty cool. And as far as like the tubers, they're starchy and can be cooked like potatoes. So you basically just clean them off and then boil them like you would a normal potato.
Sure.
Then you can eat them like that, and then you can brown them in the pan as well. I think hand grown, hand foraged. I did a video of that recently,
and they're nice and small. So like they're
about the size of your thumb.
Yeah, they lend themselves really well to like pan frying or something. Like that.
Yeah, just a little bit smaller than fingerling potatoes. I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
and
there's
a ton of them. If you ever harvested them yourself, you pull this plant up from the ground, or more than likely this massive plant, because they are the reason that they are so prolific is because their rhizomes are just like wild, man. I wish ramps had those rhizomes. We would just be drowning in ramps, and it would be delicious.
Oh yeah,
but plentiful.
So I think that's an interesting point, though, that you bring up is that they spread rhizomatically. So they don't have any seed producing parts, I don't think.
Yeah, not this. Yeah, not this.
So
variety.
that's an important distinction too. Because we talk frequently about foraging throughout the year, and even if a plant isn't in season, you're still observing it, learning it, and making sure that it is what you think it is, or that that this other plant isn't. It's all learning throughout the entire year. So I think that's an important distinction later on in the year when you aren't eating the plant.
I guess we should say that they don't produce viable seeds, because they do produce seeds, just not any that will result in plants. So they're I forget the term.
Good point.
Yeah, I forget the term, but you guys know what I mean.
Correct. Yeah, I was misspeaking a little bit. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. Yeah. So with that, I think that'll close out our first half.
Yeah, I think just one last thing. Just because I'm thinking about this, popped up in my mind. Tiger lilies, big distinction. Tiger lilies will have leaves up their stem, whereas the daylily are basal. So they will only have leaves coming from the stem. And by the time you find the flowers, they will be long and woody. And, they have some uses in bushcraft, like cordage and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's how fibrous they are, but they're not edible.
Steve, saving the show once again. Yeah, that's an awesome distinction. Cool. Yeah. Now,
second half.
With your permission?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Sigh.
Well, what's wrong, buddy?
Well, I just realized this mushroom supplement I bought isn't actually made with mushrooms. It's made with something called myceliated grain.
Myceliated grain?
Oh, no!
I'm sorry to tell you, buddy, but myceliated grain is a sure sign of a poor quality mushroom supplement.
Well, dang. I wanted mushrooms, not brown rice. What should I do?
Well, you should support a small batch producer from right here in the Midwest. Keweenaw Apothecary.
Keweenaw Apothecary? Tell me more.
Keweenaw Apothecary specializes in high-quality mushroom extracts from Michigan, and they always use real mushrooms, never myceliated grain.
That sounds like exactly what I've been looking for. Where can I order?
Well, you can find them at keweenawapothecary.etsy.com. That's KEWEENAW apothecary.etsy.com. Be sure to read their many excellent reviews.
Thanks, buddy. I don't want no low-quality mushroom products from a factory. I want Keweenaw Apothecary.
Wowie wow!
Oh, hey, Steve.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Well, what's wrong, buddy?
Well, I just got this new water bottle, but it just looks so plain.
Well, have I got the store for you. Introducing the Wild Edible World Podcast Merch Store.
Wowie wow!
It's the merch store where you can get all of your favorite podcasts merch for all your decorating purposes.
How do I find that?
Go to wildedibleworldpod.shopify.com or go to any of our Instagram and media accounts and view the link in the bio.
Wowie wow!
Welcome back to the second half of the Wild Edible World podcast.
If you haven't had a chance yet, check out that Chicago or Outsiders Chicago little thing we got going on next month.
Event, beer tasting, and wild food pairing.
On Earth Day.
On Earth Day.
Of all days.
Yep, April 22nd this year?
Yeah, 22nd.
22nd?
Yeah.
Not this year, but just also every year, actually.
Yeah, that's when Earth Day is.
Yeah, it's the day. So I just want to start off the second half with clarifying a little bit about the toxicity of daylilies, and I'll honestly kind of read a few, just like one little excerpt at the very end of Marie's section on daylilies to basically summarize that people in Asia have been eating daylily and around the world, but specifically well known in Asia for many years, thousands of years.
Yes.
And that most of the poisonings have happened, some of which have been fatal, but have also happened in Asia, where there are also a lot more distinctions, and it's associated with a specific species of flower that daylily may or may not have. We don't actually know. So a pretty common practice to make sure things are safe is to soak the flowers, especially the tubers and the flowers. They soak them in water, and also pull out the, let me make sure I'm using the right botanical term. They remove the anthers and pistons. Anthers and pistons. pistils. Yeah, capew capew. They remove their anthers and pistils, and it's been studied in China for a long time. And they may not be in there, but it might leach the plant of other compounds that we're not sure of. So
exactly.
It's just kind of a way of being sure. And this person, this forager that she references, has done it and eaten daylilies for a really long time with absolutely no problem.
And then just generally speaking, use your best common sense with roadside daylilies and things like that. If you're in a high traffic area, don't eat them.
Yes.
Maybe anyway, especially, after reading this or hearing this, soak them for sure. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't thoroughly wash something. Yeah. It's not, it's going to take a couple extra minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just wanted to clarify that. Choose your daylilies very carefully and avoid any cultivars. Mm-hmm. Place is important, as well. But let's move on to the nutrition because I think Steve is ready.
Yeah, I got him. So per 100 grams per use, about 42 calories, not a ton, as they are, like a leafy sort. 2 grams of protein. That's pretty good.
Do we know what part of the plant this is sampling?
Let me see. I do not.
Okay.
So this is most likely flowers. Since
I would say flowers. Yeah. Because the tubers aren't very thoroughly studied.
Yeah, I'm sure they're. Okay. I'm sure they're. This is most likely flowers. A little bit of phosphorus, a little bit of calcium, pretty decent amount of vitamin A, and there's a few other nutrients that are just like, solid.
Sure.
Potassium, niacin, riboflavin, blah, 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 blah. It's not a superfood, quote unquote superfood by any means, but it's delicious and it is nutritious.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a beautiful garnish. It's a beautiful flower.
It's been used in Asia as like a blood purifier. There was a couple other things that I was reading to lessen hemorrhoids.
Oh
yes. So
yes, it's a suppository.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that are tied in along with blood purification.
Sure, or Chinese medicine too,
sure,
exactly. Which is not something that we need to necessarily go into on this show. But just the fact that it is well known, that it's been eaten for a very long time. Just want to make sure that, it's still fun to eat. It's delicious. You can take the flowers and stuff them with a cream cheese mix or whatever, and then bread it and fry it, and it's a really cool little pouch for eating. You can pickle the buds.
Yeah, similar to how you would treat a squash blossom.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Well, almost exactly like how you would treat a squash blossom, except for the prior treatment of soaking and preparing beforehand. But I think that's a really good comparison to squash blossom. Let's check out a few of these, highlight a few of these recipes in this book, just to give you an idea on how Miss Marie has used them. Some of them are kind of silly, but that you kind of expect to see, honestly, as a person who has read a lot of wild food recipe books. Some of them are just slice it up, put some salt on it, and roast it in the oven, and now you've got fries. And that's just fucking hilarious to me sometimes. But I do like her effort here. She does have 8 to 10 recipes just for daylilies, from tubers to flowers. And the first one that I came across that caught my eye were the daylily hash browns.
Heck yeah.
Which is as you said earlier, you had me at hash browns. I feel the exact same way. Daylily bud pickles, which we already talked about. But also a daylily salad. She highlights just kind of throwing the flour in there raw, which doesn't look like she soaked them or removed the pistils, but
looks tasty.
Still looks
I'll eat it right now.
Gorgeous. Yeah, exactly.
I saw a video of someone making syrup from the daylily flowers, similar to how we would make a violet syrup or something along those lines. You can do that with a lot of different floral things.
So she has a nice little tip here that I haven't seen before, actually, about dried daylilies. So she says about 1 day after blooming, they start to wither anyway. So you collect them then and just kind of let them dry air dry normally, and then she puts them in a jar. And she says they last for about a year with good flavor. And whenever you open the jar, it smells like chocolate.
Ooh.
And then she says freakishly, they actually impart some of that flavor whenever you add them to dishes as well.
That sounds great.
So I've never actually dried any of the flowers. So I will be trying that. Add them to soups and stews where you need more substance. In moist heat, they become silky in texture. So yeah, they're just a really fun ingredient to work with, I think.
And plentiful.
Very plentiful, yeah. So when I run into them out in nature, I don't often find them in clumps. I have found a few solitary, friendos. But yeah, exactly. I've been able to sample some here and there, but honestly, I have not been able to collect like a huge bunch and really kind of see like, does it give me the toots? Do I have that big of a sense? Because maybe I just haven't eaten enough. I don't know. I've only had little snacky poos.
And there's some literature to that speaks to that any too much of anything is bad for you. So maybe it's the concentration of flowers that causes the distress.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. And sometimes it's not illness. It is just distress. Like, you got some belly cramps because your gut's pushing around a little bit more gas than usual or something. You know, it's not the end of the world.
Exactly.
But I hope we provided enough pretense for you all to at least safely continue learning and collect some daylily and try it out for yourselves.
Give it a whirl, man.
Yeah, a little at a time to make sure.
Yeah.
But I think you've got a good chance at enjoying something new and fun, and it's available now. So where we can find this. So let's talk about the habitable range. So as far as I know, we have an eastern daylily, or let me check the habitable range because okay, so it's got growing ranges from all the way up from growing zone 4, which I'm still kind of learning my gardening zones, but that's like Canada, right?
That's like Canada, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Like it's pretty high up there.
And then all the way down to zone 9, which should be Mexico, or is that not that far down?
Probably in there. Yeah, probably in there.
I can't visualize the map.
Yeah.
So, but it goes pretty far south. It's safe to say that if you're within the United States, it is within its habitable range.
For sure.
And you might be able to find it. So, yeah, hopefully if working upon the Google search you did in the previous half and seeing what it looks like, or with my wondrous imaginative description, bringing the plant to life in your mind through my voice, which almost definitely didn't happen. But if it did, reach out, let me know. But I think we're good with daylily for now.
I think we're good.
Yeah, we'll have to dig some up and try some.
I think we should make some of these, and we'll post it on the social media.
Yep.
Make some of these pickles, maybe those hash browns.
Mm-hmm. Maybe do a little bonus episode where we're sampling some of this stuff.
I like it.
Okay.
We should probably. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for learning with us, guys. This has been the best podcast where you can find the best food for free.